Welcome to Take Two, Rock 95 Morning Crew and the podcast. I'm Craig, Brian, MJ here as well. Coming up a little later on in the podcast, we'll give you information on another bonus opportunity to get into our birthday bash, which, if you don't know, is a party we hold where $100,000 in trips, cash, and prizes will be given away in one night.
Yeah, it's the biggest party of the year, and it's the biggest party in Barrie, for sure.
And we're just so busy and so happy to give away all these great prizes. And 20 grand of it is in cash to somebody, to one person, right?
Yeah.
So that features the Glorious Sons and JD Fortune Rocks in Excess. That's who's playing at our birthday bash. So we'll have a bonus opportunity coming up and let you know how you can get these passes in just a few moments. But today we're going to be talking about, I guess, like MJ was... Were you babysitting this bird?
No.
No?
I have nothing to do with this.
You have nothing to do with this?
Nothing to do
You're
with
just
this.
wondering if you should come clean.
Yeah. So my mother-in-law has these two birds. I believe they're cockatiels.
I'll just say a bird is such an odd pet.
Yeah.
I always find it odd. You know, you're not snuggling with it. You're not doing it. Are you just you're leaving it in a cage all the time? I don't know.
It's supposed to be company, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they squawk, they look at you. Some of them talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do these birds talk?
These birds do not talk. However, they are definitely above what your normal budgie kind of thing would be. So she adores these two birds.
Well, they're budgies. Are they
They're
Australian?
not budgies. They're cockatiels, I think.
Okay. Sorry.
And yeah, get it right.
I know.
Don't you know the difference?
Are you not a birder?
I'm not in the game.
So she's had them for many years. She's had birds for many, many years, and they are her babies. And they don't. They do have cages, but they don't live in the cages. So she's got this little separate area in her basement, and it's this room just for them. And they've got a couch, and she's always got the radio going nonstop, and she's got the little heater for them. These are the most spoiled birds on the face of the planet, and they are her babies.
Literally.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
She absolutely adores them. And they went away for a couple of days, or just overnight, and they asked, normally my son, when he goes over, my mother-in-law will show him how to feed the birds or whatever. And so the birds are well acquainted with him. They're sort of acquainted with me, not acquainted with my husband. My husband has not gone into this basement area since they've lived there.
I don't know if
It's
I
been
blame
3 years.
him.
Yeah, and you know what?
You don't play with them. That's
I don't-
what mean.
yeah.
You just
Yeah.
walk in and get out of the way.
Yeah.
Truthfully, he hates birds because this one bird that she had when he lived with her attacked him. So he hates birds, and he hates these birds
That's
for
the
whatever
first
reason.
person I've known that hates birds.
Yeah, he hates them. He does not love them. So while my mother-in-law goes away for overnight, she asks my husband, "Oh, can you please bring Xander, my son, by?"
The one guy in the world that hates birds.
Yeah.
I'll ask
bring him over.
Just
Bring
help
him
me out
over.
with them. Okay.
Can you please basically bring your son over to my house so he can feed the birds? And they go down into the basement, and one of them just lost it when my husband walks in through the door because he doesn't know this person,
Right.
and he loses it, and the bird just... my husband didn't close the door in time, and it just flies out.
Wait a minute. So he opened the cage.
He didn't, not the cage,
the door,
the
'cause the
door to
room-
this room.
the room
it's
is
a big
open.
room.
The birds flying
are-
around a room?
Yeah. They fly around the room and they like perch up on their little
they
cage.
own the
They're
room.
not caged. They have a cage, but they're not caged.
What an odd way to keep a bird.
Yeah. Like I said, they're spoiled. They're free-range birds.
Wow.
So it flies out of the room, but it's not used to being out of this room, and it hit every door, nook, and cranny with its head. It was
yeah.
going boom, boom,
I guess
boom.
so.
The fan's
All over
on.
the
You're
place.
like, oh my God.
Feathers everywhere. And the other bird has its wings up, and it's like...
Now that didn't happen. It didn't hit the. It didn't hit the fan.
It did not hit
Okay.
the fan. It did not
Yeah,
hit the
right.
fan. No, I'm
The
joking.
bird's okay?
But it did hit like 4 walls, and it just flops to the ground. And my husband's like, "My mom is gonna disown me. She's gonna kill me."
And
She
he's
loves
alone?
these things. He's with my son, and
with
my
the son.
son right now is trying to calm down the other bird who's like currently losing his, stuff, his bird poop, I guess. And,
Gotta clean that up, too.
Yeah, gotta clean that up too. And so my husband slowly starts corralling this bird that he hates with a broom back into the room.
A little CPR,
it's
you know?
it's
Mouth to
stunned.
mouth?
It's not flying. It's stunned.
You wouldn't have picked it up? I would have picked it up with my hands.
No, he's not going to touch this bird.
I
He
don't.
hates it that much?
Yeah.
I think he would be too afraid to, and I think this bird would be afraid of him.
I
doing
side
that
with her
too.
husband. I don't think I would.
Yeah. So he just like corrals it, kind of like shoves it. He's like, shoo, 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 back into the room. And then he eventually gets it back in, and my son goes to him. He's like, are we going to tell grandma about this? I'm like, well, then they tell me the story when they come home. And I'm like, well, is the bird okay? He's like, I don't know. It wasn't flying when we left. And I'm like,
was it walking around?
It was walking. So it was just probably stunned.
All right, well, let's take a break. We'll determine whether or not you should come clean, unless she listens to this podcast. Welcome back to Take Two of the Rock 95 Morning Crew. We promised you the bonus opportunity to get into the birthday bash. So you want to be listening to the Rock 95 Morning Crew on Monday morning. So that is Monday, October 7th.
Yes, October 7th.
And you're going to be listening at around 7:30. Just after 7:30, right after the news. Mm-hmm. And you're going to hear INXS Need You Tonight. Mm-hmm. And when you hear "Need You Tonight," you call 721-ROCK, and you don't have to be caller number 9. You just have to be quick on the button and be the first caller through,
and then tell us.
Yeah. Tell us where you got the info.
Don't just say what's up. Hey, what's up?
Like last week, we did the bonus opportunity, and they called in and they talked about the podcast. They listened.
They listened, exactly. Right. Don't call in and just say, am I caller 9?
Yeah.
No. You're special.
Tell us why you're calling.
So 7:30, Need You Tonight, right after the news update. First caller through at 721-ROCK is going to be going to the birthday bash. That's exclusive for Take Two listeners of the Rock 95 Morning Crew podcast here. All right, so you had a situation where your husband let out a precious bird of your mother-in-law, mm-hmm. and it got around the room and banged into some walls, fell on the ground. He kind of picked it up.
Or shoot it with a broom back into the room.
Oh, so gingerly.
The bird is okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
As far as we know. So she did come back home. And she hasn't called us to say, why do I have a dead bird? So I'm assuming the bird is okay, but we haven't really talked to her much about, so we didn't tell her that this happened. And the bird, there could be something wrong with it.
Yeah, well, that
we
seems
don't know.
risky
But then
to
again,
me.
would you be able to tell?
Well, how about the bird doesn't fly?
Huh?
How about if the bird doesn't fly?
That's true, but she hasn't said anything about that to us. Although I don't think she would say anything to my husband about it because she knows how he feels about them and he doesn't care.
Do birds get concussions?
Do that. Yes, they do. Birds do get concussions.
Well, maybe it has concussions symptoms, Maybe it's stumbling around in the basement.
As far as I know, Lex is okay.
Lex?
His name's Lex. or
so
maybe it was the other one. I have no idea.
Your question is, should you come clean?
Should we tell her?
I probably
Then again, I will not get in trouble.
You would have. I would have too.
That is that's someone's pet. And I mean, I can't believe if the bird flew around, hit some walls, couldn't fly, and you swept it with a broom back into the room and then went, and I hope this'll be enough. Imagine if it wasn't. Imagine if she came home and there was a bird that
I'm also
died.
thinking there's probably bird marks in the house. When they slam into walls and windows, they leave a bit of a stain.
There was no visible blood.
You don't think so? I bet you there was something there.
As far as I know, I really got to go check.
Now, would your mother, would she be mad at you? She'd be mad if you didn't tell, I would think.
Yeah. Maybe she might be upset. I'm not sure. If the bird is genuinely okay, she will laugh. She'll be like, oh, that's hilarious. Or it might be like, that's why it's been acting weird.
Yeah, you say it's hilarious until she's like, our pets' heads are falling off.
We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Craig, Brian, and MJ, the Rock 95 Morning Crew on Barrie's Rock Station, Rock 95.